Imagine working your entire life, overcoming impossible odds, and building a multi-billion-dollar empire from scratch, only to look your children in the eye and say, "You are getting absolutely nothing." To most people, this sounds like a cruel, headline-grabbing punishment, the ultimate family feud broadcasted on the evening news. But for one of the most successful patriarchs of our time, it wasn't an act of malice at all. It was the ultimate expression of love. He realized a dangerous, hidden truth that most wealthy parents are completely blind to. Passing down liquid cash doesn't secure a generation. It systematically ruins them. Easy money breeds psychological weakness, entitlement, and eventually, total financial ruin. Statistical history proves him right, with data showing that 70% of wealthy families lose their fortune by the second generation, and a staggering 90% wipe it out by the third. Knowing this, he designed a radical experiment. He left his children exactly $0 in his will. Instead, he spent 2 decades transferring an invisible currency, a system of untouchable assets that no market crash, lawsuit, or government could ever take away. He gave them a bulletproof mind. In this video, we are breaking down the exact psychological blueprint. This billionaire used to ensure his children didn't just survive without his money, but became completely unstoppable because of it. 2. Understand why this billionaire took such a drastic step. We have to look closely at the mechanics of what psychologists call the trust fund trap, when a human being grows up knowing that a safety net of millions of dollars awaits them at the finish line. Their internal psychological immune system is effectively turned off. Comfort is the ultimate enemy of competence. This father spent years observing his peers, tech moguls, real estate giants, and Wall Street executives, who proudly passed down tens of millions to their 20-something kids. The results were almost always catastrophic. Within 5 short years, those children hadn't built a single thing of value. Instead, they became paralyzed by endless options, consumed by lifestyle inflation, or worse, trapped in a deep existential depression, because they never had the opportunity to earn their own self-worth. The billionaire father famously called cash a depreciating psychological asset. The exact moment unearned liquidity hits an untrained mind, it immediately begins to erode their drive, their resilience, and their creative hunger. By shielding his children from the harsh realities of the market, he knew he would be rendering them financially handicapped. He refused to let his success become their economic handicap. So, if you completely strip away the inheritance, what do you actually give your children to ensure they succeed? This patriarch focused entirely on transferring what he defined as untouchable assets. This wasn't a vague set of moral values. It was a highly deliberate 3-part mental programming system executed over 2 decades. Pillar number 1 is cognitive asymmetry. Instead of buying his children luxury assets, he bought them direct access to elite, high-stress environments where they could witness monumental decision-making firsthand. From the age of 14, his kids weren't relaxing on yachts during summer break. They were silent observers sitting in the corner of high-stakes corporate boardrooms. He didn't teach them what to think. He forced them to study how top-tier minds process risk, spot market asymmetries, and calculate mathematical probability under immense pressure. Pillar number 2 is the stress tolerance threshold. While average wealthy parents actively shield their kids from failure, this father did the exact opposite by microdosing his children with controlled adversity. If they wanted to start a business, he wouldn't write them a check. He forced them to pitch to brutal outside venture capitalists. When they inevitably failed, he didn't bail them out or soften the blow. Instead, he sat down with them to dissect the failure like a scientist examining a specimen, systematically building their tolerance for rejection until hearing the word no felt as natural as breathing. The climax of this decades-long experiment occurred when the children reached their 25th birthdays. They were called into his private office one by one. Expecting a traditional trust fund activation or a transfer of corporate shares, they were instead handed a legally binding copy of his updated last will and testament. The document was crystal clear. The entirety of his billions was legally pledged to global charitable foundations. The reactions, however, completely defied societal expectations. There were no tears, no screaming matches, and no threats of lawsuits. Why? Because by that time, the internal system had already proven itself successful. His oldest son had already built a thriving logistics company entirely on his own, utilizing the hyper-specific negotiation tactics he had observed in those early boardrooms. His daughter had successfully navigated 2 massive market downturns within her own independent investment firm without using a single dime of family capital. The father looked at them and delivered a final, profound lesson, stating, "If I gave you $50 million today, I would be actively buying away your opportunity to find out who you truly are. I have already given you the exact mindset required to make $50 million on your own. Now, go do it." Now, you might be watching this extraordinary case study and thinking to yourself, "That's a great story, but I don't have a billionaire father, and I don't have an international boardroom to sit in." But here is the massive, life-altering secret. The psychological blueprint this patriarch utilized does not require a single dollar to implement. You can apply these exact rules to your own life, your career, or your children starting today. First, you must completely stop optimizing your life for comfort. If you truly desire a bulletproof mind, you have to intentionally seek out difficult, high-friction environments. Take the high-risk project at work that everyone else is avoiding. Start that side business where you have absolutely no financial safety net. Force yourself to operate consistently in zones where the stakes actually matter and failure has real consequences. Second, you must radically shift your long-term focus from building generational wealth to developing generational capability. Stop stressing over how much money you can save, hoard, or leave behind in a bank account. Start obsessing over the raw quality of your daily decision-making, your emotional control under intense pressure, and your baseline work ethic. Because if you lose all your money but keep your bulletproof mind, you can easily win it all back. But if you keep the money and lose your mind, you lose absolutely everything in the final analysis. The billionaire father created the ultimate financial paradox. By leaving his children absolutely nothing, he successfully gave them the entire world. They didn't merely inherit a fragile, stagnant empire that they didn't understand. They became the exact type of high-caliber individuals who are fully capable of building an empire from scratch. True wealth is never defined by the numbers flashing on your bank statement. True wealth is what is left over if you lost every single dollar tomorrow and had to start completely over from zero. If you are ready to stop chasing cheap comfort, build a genuinely bulletproof mind, and master the deep psychological frameworks of the ultra-successful, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Do not miss the next video appearing on your screen, where we break down the exact methods the top 1% use to program their brains for extreme risk. We will see you in the next breakdown.